KXSW.
All right, this is the Reverend in Fuego here for BJ Shea's Geek Nation, and I'm super excited because last night I had the chance to go to the Showbox at the market, go down to check out Innistrad. Magic the Gathering is coming out with their new set. They had an unveiling and a releasing of how awesome this new set is going to be. And with me today, we've got Mark Purvis. Mark, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
And so for those who may not know, what exactly do you do in the Wizards of the Coast community?
I'm the senior brand manager for Magic. I've been working at Wizards for 4 years, but I've been playing Magic for about 15, so I know a thing or two about the game, and every once in a while I get to play a little bit around in R&D. So I've worked on design and development teams. I worked on Commander and Scars of Mirrodin as well.
Awesome. I love the Commander sets as well. One of my favorite things that have come out this year, and it seems that it's something that's blown up for the Magic community and Wizards in general as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've done in the last couple of years is rather than just put booster sets out, we've really looked at how people are playing Magic, and Commander's a perfect example of that. It's a format that was created by the fans, and rather than try to invent something new, we looked at how players were already playing Magic and created a product to support that.
And you have the different pre-constructed decks for Commander, but also you've recently launched the From the Vault series with the Legends. How much of an influence did Commander and the whole format in general have on those cards?
It definitely was front of mind when they were designing that. There are a lot of fans of Commander in R&D, and a lot of the cards that were chosen for From the Vault Legends are cards that are popular Commanders, or cards that are potentially popular Commanders that, there's cards from Portal 3 Kingdoms in there, and that was a set that had a very small print run a very long time ago, and those cards are hard to find, and so now you have another opportunity to get those cards.
Awesome, very, very cool. One of the things that we do definitely want to delve into, especially now that you've released the webpage explaining the mechanics and stuff for Innistrad, is we got to talk about Innistrad. First off, I needed to know, delving into the world of Gothic horror, what made Wizards kind of choose to go that route for this set?
Well, it's something that Mark Rosewater, our lead designer, has been talking about wanting to do forever. And we know there are a lot of fans out there that have been waiting for us to do a Gothic horror set. And so it seemed like a win-win. It's something that, is a natural fit for Magic as well.
One of the things I've noticed is that you have the mainstays. You've got the zombies. You have the werewolves, vampires. Do you have a personal favorite out of all of I guess it's a tribal, but at the same point, it's just the Gothic horror creatures that you've been able to put in this set?
I'm a big fan of zombies, so I gotta say they're my favorite. For Plane Chase, I built the Zombie Empire deck for that set, and so I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the zombies. But the thing about zombies in this set that I love is they play like zombies. They keep coming back, and they just keep coming in this overwhelming force. And a lot of cards are like that in Innistrad. That's a very top-down design, and what that means is the mechanics of the card really match what you would think that does in real life.
And that's one of the things I was kind of wondering also. When we're talking about Gothic horror, and a lot of that comes from literature figures. Did you, in the design of the set, did you have any specific literary figures in mind when the set was being created? I do feel that like Blue had a big thing with like Frankenstein, and the fact that they're just, especially with some of the cards, that you're creating monstrosities in the laboratory as opposed to a normal sort of magical being, the reason why they're coming about.
I didn't work on this design team, but I know from hearing Mark Rosewater talk that one of the first things that they did is write on a bulletin board everything you would expect to find in Gothic horror or in a traditional horror film or book or what have you. So they came up with a list of things that you would always expect to see in this sort of genre, and then they designed cards to suit those things. Whereas usually with Magic, it's the other way around. They come up with great card ideas and then they put creative on top of it.
And speaking of like the creative card ideas, one of the biggest things to hit when it was announced is the fact that you've created double-sided cards.
Yes. Yeah, they're double face cards, and this is one of them, the Mayor of Avabrook, and under certain conditions, these double face cards will transform, and when that happens, you turn them to their other face. With werewolves, it's if no spells were cast last turn, the human transforms into a werewolf. If 2 spells were cast last turn, the werewolf transforms back into a human.
It's pretty cool the way you guys decide to go about with that. I mean, it's an interesting dichotomy, the way that you go from night to day with that. Was that kind of just like a seamless thing, or was it one of those interesting designs that kind of just came about as you were as the set was being designed?
I know it's something that they wanted to do from the very beginning, and they went through a number of different iterations of how to implement it. And the thing that we've come up with is these double-faced cards, and I think it's going to be a very exciting and very different way to play Magic. One of the guys on the design team I want to mention is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Richard Garfield. Perhaps your fans have heard of him.
Dude, I was really surprised because the last time he was designing on a set, it was with Ravnica, I believe, and that has been one of the biggest fan favorites from that. So do you feel that his input is going to maybe alleviate some fears that people might have about a set that's kind of turning Magic on its head a little bit?
Well, I don't think anyone should be afraid about that. It's something that we do with every set, is we constantly are trying to make it a fresh, new, and different experience. But it was great to have him on the design team. He is one of the most talented game designers ever, and so it's always good to have that kind of star power on the design team. But we're really excited about this new mechanic. I know there are a lot of questions out there, but we did list the mechanics article up on the site last night, right after the party. One of the big questions is, what do I do if I don't have sleeves?
Exactly.
So, wanted to make sure everybody knows that you do not have to play with sleeves now. We know a lot of players prefer to play with sleeves, but booster packs will have a checklist card, and this checklist card is something that you can substitute for the double-faced cards in your deck if you're playing without sleeves. It does have a regular Magic back. It's printed on Magic stock. It passed the bend test and everything else. So when it's in your hands, you'll mark on it which card it represents, and you'll keep that, you can keep that hidden. And once you cast it and put it into play, if it's checked Mayor of Averbrook, then you just, swap it out for Mayor of Averbrook.
And then obviously you'll just be able to have that off to the side, maybe, and with if you're playing in a tournament in your sideboard or just in your box on the side, you don't have to have it shown out for anyone. You can keep it on the down low if people don't want, if you don't want people to know what's going on with it.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right.
One of the big questions that I've seen so far that people have been asking is how are they going to deal with the foil, the premium cards, and so how have they decided to go about with the premium cards when they're the double-faced side?
Sure, they are going to be premium foil on both sides, and this is something that was harder than it sounds to do, but our product engineering team is one of the best in the business, and so if you get a foil, it'll be foil on both sides if it's a double-faced card. There will be one double-faced card in every pack, and so for the first time ever, if you get a mythic double-faced card, a mythic foil in your foil slot, and a mythic in your rare slot, it is possible for the first time to open a triple mythic booster pack in Magic.
Wow, so there's going to be its own slot for the double-faced cards then?
Yes, every single pack will have a double-faced card in it.
And so also, you're talking about mythics in terms of the double-faced cards. Do they go through all rarities? Are there common double-faced cards as well?
Yes, there are, yep.
Excellent. Moving on to some of the different mechanics, I kind of enjoyed the one with the morbid thought with that. Some of the questions people had with that is how morbid works if the creature is it always a come into play ability with morbid? Does the creature have to die when the creature comes in? How does it work in interacting with the game state?
Sure. It's if a creature has died this turn, the game will check to see if that is true when the morbid ability is relevant. So if it's a creature with a comes into play ability, when that creature comes into play, it'll check to see if something has died this turn.
Excellent. And you've created out of an old mechanic, you've created a new keyword, a new evergreen term. You've got fight, and I thought it was great because now you can basically have a Magic fight club. But for those who may not know what fight is, what is it?
There are a lot of cards throughout Magic's history that say on them, it's written out, choose 2 target creatures, they deal their power to each other. So it's sort of like a mini combat between just those two creatures. So that's a lot of words. We're constantly looking for ways to simplify the words on a card, and fight seemed like a really great way to do that.
It does seem like it gets right to the point. Each guy's basically punching each other, and that's how it's working out. You brought back an old mechanic with flashback. One of the spoiled cards was a fireball, essentially a direct damage spell that you can bring back. Is it hard to? Do you think it's hard for them to be able to balance flashback cards with the way their power and their abilities?
We have a team of developers that take every set once it's done being designed, and most of them are ex-pro players, and so their job is basically to make sure that there is a good amount of balance and that the set is fun, because it's a game, it's meant to be fun, and so part of that is making sure that there isn't something that's completely out of whack, and so I'm pretty confident that they did a great job on balancing the flashback cards.
And so, what do you think your favorite aspect of the entire new set is?
Oh gosh, I love the equipment that there is in this set. Yeah. There's not a lot of it, but it's very flavorful. Wooden Stake was one of the cards that we previewed last night. There was also the torch that was in Innistrad, in Zendikar.
Oh yeah, the blazing torch.
Yes, it's being reprinted here. And it's just a perfect fit for the flavor of this set, and there are going to be a lot of targets for it.
One of the things I noticed, I believe it was the Elite Inquisitor. Innistrad, I think at this point, probably has the best usage of hats. I think the art from this set, and I shouted it out over Twitter this last night, the art in this set is amazing. One of the things I was wondering, is it with like the double-sided cards, they both have two sides of art, are they the same artists, or were you able to kind of go with different artists for each one?
I am not 100% sure that it is the case on all of them, but I believe most, if not all of them, are the same artist on both sides. So we have a Nils Ham piece here in Ludwig's test subject, and this guy turns into a 13-13 from a 0-3. So Ludwig's Abomination is this side. Now this guy illustrates another thing about the double-faced cards, and that is they all have, not all of them, but most of them have different triggers. So this guy triggers when you put counters on him. And in the case of this egg that turns into a giant lizard, he never turns back into an egg. So once you've got him as a 13-13, he's not going back in that shell. We have this bat, for example, who turns into a vampire. And this is a card that you can pay to transform. So if you need a 2/2 flyer, the bat will work out fine for you. But if you want to go to town with a 5/5 vampire on the ground, you can pay for, transform her, and then go to work on them that way.
And one of the beauties of it also is just like how the art, it works together with itself, because it starts off and it's a tiny egg in the laboratory, and then at the next point you turn it around and it's a gigantic lizard. The egg's still there, he's busting out and he's basically getting ready to go to town. And then with each of them, like with the bat, it's the bat flying through it, and then you see it. Oh, look at, she's just standing there within the same backdrop. Everything ties in well together, so it's wonderful that the art direction keeps in line with the theme. Everything looks beautiful in it. Mark, I want to thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Just for anyone to know out there, when are the release events happening for Innistrad?
It will be September 24th and 25th, and then the set comes out on the 30th.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
The BJ Shea Morning Experience on 99.9 KISW.